Gulden Draak 9000 Quadrupel.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got this. This is the Gulden Draak 9000 Quadrupel. Not to be confused with the classic Quadrupel. Now, this one differs in that it's an amber, so it's a lighter coloured Quadrupel. I tried this and it says Ruden Road Triple. I don't know what that means, but it tasted and looked more like a Quadrupel. This is a lighter version of it. It's quite confusing, but that's what they've done basically, and it's quite an impressive beer by all accounts. Now, it's brewed by the Steenberge Brewery, who are based in a place called Untitled, which is in East Flanders, i.e. the Flemish part of Belgium. And the beer is named after the Golden Dragon. That's what Gulden Draak means in Flemish. It means golden dragon, and it's named after the golden dragon that is on top of the Ghent belfry, which is a series, I think there's 3 of them. They are medieval towers which you'll find in the city of Ghent. I never went to Ghent when I was in Belgium, and there was a reason for it. I was knocking about with a few of the lads from Bruges, and that's their main rival when it comes to football. FC Bruges and Ghent are like West Ham and Millwall, so yeah, they don't get on basically. And I did happen to mention once that I was fancied a trip to Ghent, and I was basically told don't go there, it's crap, etc, etc. And of course I listened, but I will eventually go there. But it's a beer that has quite a reputation, and there's 4 in the series of Gulden Draak. They do a smoked version, they do an imperial stout, so it's not all quadruples, if you know what I mean. The imperial stout is hefty, that is 12%, so it is not to be taken lightly. And they also do what's called a brewmaster one that is slightly lower in ABV. It's still 7.5%, so it's pretty strong. And they also do a barrel aged one as well. I think it's done in a whiskey barrel. So there's plenty more to collect. So I've done that one. I've done this one. This is the classic, and I'm about to do this, the 9000. Now, there's a reason it's called 9000, and that is the postcode of Ghent. The colour of the bottle is black and white, and that is the colour of the city of Ghent. So everything about this says Ghent. And it's a beer that I've always wanted to try, and when I tried the supposed triple, and I say supposed because it was dark in colour, and I really couldn't see why it was, well, I could see why it was called a triple. Triples are usually light in colour. This was dark, but it's 10.5%. To me, you could argue it's a triple. I think when you get onto sort of 12%, that's when you're in, or 11% even, that's when you're in the quadruple region. But this is called a quadruple, and that's 10.5% as well. So I really don't know what to make of this. If they'd have done it the other way round, it would have made a lot more sense. Had the lighter beer as the triple. This is an amber colour. Apparently, I haven't opened it up and had a look yet, so we'll have to wait to see what that colour is. But yeah, it's a bit confusing why they've done that. So that's what they've done, and that's what we are with. Quick bit about the brewery. As I say, they're based in a place called Ertveld. They've been going since 1784, which is quite impressive. And this beer, this one here, is quite new. That is relatively new. That came out in, I think it was 1986. And this 9000 came out a fair bit later, a good few years later. So they're relatively new beers in the grand scheme of things when it comes to when it comes to these beers. The Golden Dragon on the front, as I say, is based on the Golden Dragon that's on top of the Belfry in Ghent. That originally came off, it wasn't a Viking era ship, but it was from Scandinavia, Norway I think it was, and it was one of the Norwegian kings who was going on a crusade, and they had a battle somewhere. I think it was obviously in the Middle East if it was a crusade, but they won the battle and they gave the Golden Dragon off his ship to the King of Constantinople, and then shortly after that, I think it was 100 years later, there was a Belgian prince or Belgian king. Well, he wouldn't have been known as a Belgian king because Belgium didn't exist, but from the Flanders region, and he brought it back and it ended up on the Belfries in Ghent, so it's had quite a history. And it's fitting that they've done a beer or a series of beers to commemorate that. So yeah, very good history indeed. So let's stop gassing and let's get it open. Before we get it open, I'll just tell you what this is. It's 10.5% in the volume, as I've just mentioned. It's 330ml bottle. On the side it says strong Belgian amber blonde beer with re-fermentation. Yeah, so it basically means it's bottle conditioned. That bottle conditioning is done with wine yeast, so they add wine yeast afterwards. Now, you know my views on wine.
I'm going to chin you if you don't watch it.
But this is a beer. This can't be construed as wine, so I'll give this one a pass. What does it say? An exceptionally rich and complex flavour palette. Blah, blah, blah. About the city of Ghent. What I've just told you, basically, yeah. And that's it. So there you go. Ingredients, yeah, water, malt, barley, hops, sugar, etc, etc. So yeah, let's get it home. Let's see what's going on. Right, now I don't know whether this is going to fizz up. I'm using this glass. This is obviously a chalice glass, but they have what's called a dragon's egg, and it's a cross between one of them tulip glasses. I'm debating whether to put it into a tulip glass or not, or should I put it in now. I'm going to put it in here just in case, because sometimes when I open up these strong beers that have been re-fermented in the bottle, they go everywhere, so I may have to fuck off when I open this, because this could potentially fizz up. So here you go. No, it hasn't. Well done, thank you for that. There's the cap. It is, I love that cap, it is quality. There you go, one for ye oldie collection. Right, let's get it into the glass. Right, now that is amber coloured, as they say. Very lively indeed, as you would expect. Now the glass I was talking about, that you're supposed to drink this out of, the dragon's egg, it's got a dragon etched at the bottom, and I think it's nucleated, so it keeps the head, as it doesn't dissipate too quick. And at 10.5%, this head is going to dissipate at a rate of knots, so I'm going to be quick on the aroma. Yeah, it smells amazing. Full of fruit, banana, clove, ethanol. You are getting the ethanol, that's coming through now. Quite sweet as well. There's a sugar, candy sugar sweetness on that. Oh, it smells lovely. And the banana and clove are the two dominant flavours on the, or two dominant aromas, I should say, on this. And there's a sweetness to it. It smells amazing, but I want to see what it tastes like. There it is in the glass before I down it. Now it is quite dark. They said it's an amber. Look at that carbonation. It is fucking going for it. There is tons in there. It's not as light coloured as I thought. When they said amber, it's a very, very dark amber. It's bordering on ruby. I don't know what you're seeing in the camera, but oh, it does smell good. Typically Belgian as well. Really getting the ethanol and the candy sugar coming through now, along with the banana and the clove. Bit of vanilla on there too. Oh, it's lovely. Let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Oh my good God. ethanol. Crikey. That is really burning. And I'm not just saying warming, that is burning. This is my first beer of the day. It is 10 to 6. A lot of carbonation, a lot of ethanol. I always say on these strong Belgian beers that I need to dive in a second time, because usually the first burst is just ethanol. Your palate really needs to adjust to it. So let's go again. It's really rich and fruity, but also sweet as well. I'm getting a lot of the candy sugar coming through on there, and the ethanol. Carbonation is there. It's not obtrusive. It's quite good actually, quite good levels of carbonation on that. There's a little bit of hop bitterness on there too. Caramel malt, hop bitterness. There's no brew sheet on this. I know they use 4 different types of malt in this. They don't list what malt what malt they're using. There's a little bit of hop bitterness on there too, which is nice. But the dominant flavours on this, ethanol, candy sugar. It's very, I wouldn't say it's very sweet, but it is sweeter than normal. And there's a bitterness on the finish, which gives a little bit of hop character. And then you've got the yeasty esters of the banana and the clove. And it's quite nice. This is not one to be taken lightly. It really is complex. There's other fruits in there as well. A bit of black cherry. It's really subtle though, and you really have to concentrate, because if you're not switched on, if your palate hasn't adjusted, all you're going to get is ethanol and candy sugar. That's there in abundance. But it's really nice. That is a good one. Now, Van Steenberge do a range of beers, and I did have some doubts about them, because they also do some contract brewing as well. I'm pretty sure they do the, what is the one, St. Stephanus, that Marks and Spencer's do. I mean, obviously St. Stephanus is a Belgian beer, but you can buy that in Marks and Spencer's, and it ain't great. No, sorry, not Marks and Spencer's, Waitrose. Marks and Spencer's do the Saint Fergnon stuff, which is really good. If you're into Marks and Spencer's, check that out. They also do Czech Pilsner as well, not so great. But this stuff, I'm liking. It may be a touch sweet for some people, and if you're not used to Belgian beer, you might say that this is very, very syrupy. It's not. That is ethanol and candy sugar, and that's supposed to be in there. Some people would say, you know, if you're an average lager drinker, and I don't mean that in disparaging terms, I'm just saying if you're not into your beer, if you just like drinking for the sake of drinking, I mean, that's fine. It's perfectly fine with me. I have no problems at all. If you tasted this, you'd say it was very sweet, very sickly, and very syrupy. It's not. This is what Belgian beer is all about. It is an acquired taste, I will give you that, but it's good. Really good. Really impressed. So, what is the verdict on Gulden Draak 9000 Quadrupel? It's nice. I like it. It's one of them beers that I've always wanted to try after drinking this stuff, and I'm going to make it my mission to try and get hold of all the beers in that range. The smoked beer, the Brewmaster, the Imperial Stout is definitely going to be interesting A Belgian Imperial Stout. Never tried one of them before. But this stuff is good. As for it being a quadruple, I am not sure. I really didn't get this classification as a quadruple. I know quadruple goes by strength. Quadruples are normally dark and they have a very high ABV, quite similar to our barley wine that we have over here. Obviously our barley wine tastes different to the Belgian quads, but that's the style or the type of style. And this is, due to its colour, I would say that I would have classed that as a, I don't know, a Belgian brown ale maybe. Brown ale and quadruples. Again, the whole Belgian classification on beer. The blondes, yeah, that speaks for itself. But after that, doubles. Doubles are usually dark, medium ABV, you know, anything between sort of 6 and, I would say medium, slightly bordering on the higher, between 6 and 8 or 9. And then once you get over 10, then you're in the triple territory. And then after that, you're in quadruples. But regardless of the classification, to be honest, I really don't give a shit about classification when it comes to Belgian beer. It's just if it tastes good. And this does taste good. I do like it. How can I put this? It's not what I would be expecting from a quadruple. As I say, quadruples are normally dark. They've deemed this a quadruple. I think this is more of a quadruple, but it's still good on its own merits. It's a very nice beer, typically Belgian. If you like big candy sugar, if you like big ethanol, if you like big carbonation, and if you like big ABV, then this has got it in abundance. Yeah, I like it and I'd buy it again. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I have tasted better quadruples, believe me. There are better out there. Some of the Trappist stuff, the super strong Trappist stuff, is light years ahead of this. The Brabant Apostle quadruple is a fantastic quadruple. I really like that, and the triple as well that they do for a very small brewery. They do 2 beers and they are fucking outstanding. So yeah, but this is good, don't get me wrong, it's a great beer. I urge you to try it. It's Belgium in a bottle. That is what they do, and everything's amplified up to 11 on it. And it's a good Belgian beer. I like it. So yeah, in fact, I'm going to give it 8.5. I'll give it 8.5 because it is that good. Excellent. Well done, Van Steenberge. Sort your lives out on that St. Stephanus stuff though. That is fucking pony, that stuff. There you go. And remember, beer is working class champagne.